Welcome back, folks, to more Let's Play West of Loathing Reckonin at Gun Manor. In the last episode, I think we've sorted out most, if not all, of the ghosts at this point. Apparently we've got 2 left. Okay. Let's get back into some more litigation, shall we? Hey, you're worried now. Crab walk. Crab walk over here. Alright. Let's see what we got then. What questions have we got? No, that's fine. This one. No, that's fine. He fired at precisely noon. So he fired as soon. Objection! God, what the heck? McCready fired at the wrong time. What are you talking about? He fired at exactly noon. With the church bells. There were witnesses. That's right, he fired at clock noon, but the duel was set for high noon. They aren't the same thing. High noon is when the sun is at its highest point in the sky. Depending on geography and the time of year, it can be hours different from clock moon. McCready fired early, and that makes the duel illegal. So what do you say to that, counsellor? Felicity gives you a slow smile. Got to hand it to you, Prosecutor Cletus. You're a lot better at this than I was giving you credit for. That's a good thought you had there. There's just one problem with it. Oh, what's that? I already thought it. Take that. She hurls a small book at you, which you just barely managed to catch. The 1878 Nautical Almanac. What the heck is this? I did my homework when I was preparing for that trial. My legal homework. Since at the time I expected there to be an actual trial, not a gunfight. What you're holding there is a nautical almanac for the year 1878. There are bookmarks, if you'd like to do the math yourself. But if you look up solar noon, aka high noon, for June the 18th, and make the adjustment for Reno's longitude, what do you get? You've got to be kidding me. That's right, prosecutor. 12 o'clock p.m. Precisely. No! Well, damn. Nice try, though. I mean that sincerely. That's all my ammo. I can't think of another way to disprove McCready's innocence. As far as I can see, it was a fair duel. Yes, and that's me with the guilt of an innocent man's death on my hands. An innocent man's death? You sure are good at repeating things people say. What if he didn't die? Say what now? Well, you didn't actually see the execution, right? Yes, well, I was indisposed, you might say, being dead and all. So you don't actually know whether or not it happened. Oh, come on, look, I appreciate the effort, but you're barking at the moon. Let me ask you something. Was the trial right after the duel, the 19th? Ha, no. I don't know what Reno's like now, but it didn't have a proper courthouse then. And you can't just try a murder charge in the sheriff's front parlor. McCready sat in jail for a couple of weeks, and then they transported him to Frisco. What with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until the 25th. Geez, so much for a right to a speedy trial. The wheels grind slow. Tell me about McCready. He was a gunfighter through and through. And by that I mean, he was an adrenaline addict. And dueling was the needle of choice. Hell, if you told me you had evidence that he cheated at poker with the specific intent of baiting people into challenging him to duels, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. He was a sly one. Her expression softens and she sighs. I make him sound like a real devil. It's not fair. He was smart and charming. And couldn't have been a good man if he'd chosen an entirely different life for himself. Anything else? Well, I recall he had a real good head for numbers. He told me he'd never forget a date, and every man he'd ever killed. He'd remember to pour a beer on their grave on their birthday. Well, that's nice. A nicer birthday present would have been not having them killed in the first place, of course. Why did he invoke trial by combat? Assuming he was innocent. Why would McCready invoke trial by combat? His case was pretty straightforward. A duel only worsened his odds. I was mightily surprised, let me tell you. The only thing I can figure is it was his damn full sense of gunfighter's pride or something. Like that was the only form of justice he was willing to submit himself to. When was his execution? Well, he held the trial by combat on the 26th, and that was Friday. They don't execute prisoners on the weekend, so presumably that would have been the following Monday, the 29th. In the morning? What with setting up gallows and letting a crowd gather, they usually happen in the afternoon. Around 3, typically. Okay. Interesting. So, I do know how to actually sort of sort this out, really. We can look up a date in it. And specifically the date we're after is in March. Was it 29th? No, it's one of the Marches. I've already forgotten the date. 28th? Let's see, on that day there was a moon? It was somewhere between new and full. Why was there a moon on that day? I've got a question for you. Hang on a minute. When was it? Oh no, so it was the 29th. Oh wait, no, why am I looking in March? It was July. July the 29th. Okay. Hang on a minute. Let's look up July the 29th in the almanac. Why am I thinking March? It's because it's just been March. July 29th. That was when MacCready was going to be executed. Let's see. Wow, wait a minute. According to this, there was a total eclipse of the sun that day, centered right over the Western Territories, and with its totality at 2:47 p.m. That's a hell of a thing. Alright, hang on. I looked up the July 29th in your almanac. And get this, there was a total eclipse of the sun that day. What? Now you're just messing with me. Nope, look for yourself. Totality at 2:47 p.m. right over the Western Territories. Well, that's quite a thing. I don't see how that affects... Wait. Unless you're suggesting... Right. It was the perfect opportunity for MacCready to escape. That's absurd. Absurd like a fox. You said yourself that MacCready was really good at remembering dates. He could have read about the eclipse at any time and stored that knowledge away for future use. Like to give himself an advantage in a duel or something. Alright, that's reasonable as far as it goes. But MacCready couldn't have worked the eclipse into his escape plan because he didn't have any say over the court schedule. You said, what with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until the 25th. MacCready could have caused a number of those delays himself, faking an illness in prison, or messing with the horses on the ride to Frisco, or anything. This could explain the trial by combat. You mean, there ended up being too much of a delay, so if a regular trial went on too long, and he was found guilty, he'd have missed the eclipse. Exactly. Whereas if he called for trial by combat, everything would have been resolved one way or the other in only one more day. Maybe you'd win and that'd be fine. But if you lost, he could escape he could use his escape plan. I have to admit that's pretty compelling. But it's all maybes and what ifs. Yeah, maybe it happened, but maybe MacCready was rescued by leprechauns. Oh man, are there leprechauns in Frisco? You need some kind of hard evidence before this is any more than just a fun story, is what I mean. How can I find evidence of MacCready's escape? Well, we don't know when an escape even happened. True. Something like that would have been in the news, for certain. So maybe something in the library? Potentially. You'd have, like, news articles in the library of that time, wouldn't you? Surely you would have. Aha! You find a few bundles of old newspapers at the bottom of one of the shelves. The Frisco Newsinator. You start at the bottom of the stack and flip through them until you find the paper of the week of July 28th to August 3rd, 1878. The main feature has to do with the eclipse and various accidents and spectacles that occurred because most people weren't expecting it. The editor apologized for burying the announcement in the previous week's weather forecast. Most notably, all 3 men scheduled to be hanged on the 29th escaped in the confusion. There you go. And only 2 of them were recaptured. Unfortunately, their names aren't given. Ah, okay. So he could have escaped or he could have been recaptured, but it narrows it down at least. You don't find anything else relevant to the case. However, as you're putting the papers back in order on the shelf, a headline on the most recent issue catches your eye. Husband of famous inventor missing. The article is light on information, but apparently Mrs. Gunn's husband Dan vanished on the road while traveling to Dirtwater on business about 6 years ago. Law enforcement suspected bandits, but no evidence was found. It's kind of grim. Is the game telling me to go back to Dirtwater? I feel like it is. Get on that coach. We need to get back to Dirtwater. If there's anywhere that would be aware of it, surely it'd be you. You're right, Lloyd. Howdy, Bald. Can I get anything for you? Hey, Lloyd. I heard you had something interesting back there. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maybe my info's too old, but I found a note of some travelers that passed through here about 8 years ago. Oh, this is probably a completely different thing. Okay. The post office would be the one, wouldn't it? It'd be in the post office, surely. Oh yeah, that was the previous bartender. He had, a little trick he used to offer to show people is what got him fired. Eventually, that senator's wife wasn't amused. Oh, that senator's wife was not amused. He rummages around under the bar for a minute, and then he blows the dust off a tiny piano, about 9 inches tall. Hey, you can keep the piano, as long as you don't ask me about the trick. Sure. Okay, it's not you. Probably I need to... Post office, then. Sure. Would it be post office? It's not you. Certainly not you. But... Ah, damn, you don't have what I need. I was hoping if you had, like, maybe some needles just in case I need it. I wonder if you've got anything. No postcards? Okay. There's something here. There's no way they'd mention Dirtwater without anything else. Oh, you need medicine, do you? Okay. Do we even have medicine for him? Nope. Maybe in the jail? Oh, there's just a lot of stuff here that I really have not done. There's a lot of stuff here I haven't done. Oh, jeez, where do we go here? I feel like it's somewhere here. Maybe it is somewhere in the jewel saloon. Maybe someone's got something. They're falling asleep during the brawl. They're in a conversation. Oh, we got a helmet. Ellsbury, by the way. He takes the helmet from you. It takes a moment for him to find his voice. It does a long time ago. I don't suppose there was anything else you found. Yeah, we got a bottle of this. Take it. Sure, let's hear a story. Give me my experience. Not very much. Is there anything here at all? That's slop. Can I fix the piano player? Yeah, with Mysticality I can. I think. Maybe in a poker room. Might be a play... Where the... I feel like it's somewhere here. Where what... Hang on, let's go back. Let's go back. I need to get that information again because bloody Nora. Oh, God. I feel like there's something we need. But I mean, to be fair, I need to remember it. First and foremost, I need to remember it. But we need something in... Surely we need something in Dirtwater. There's no way they'd... I mean, they mentioned Frisco as well, to be fair, so it could be Frisco. Oh, apparently... Oh, yeah, we need to go back to the newspaper. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Right. I found a newspaper article. The guy scheduled to be executed the day of the eclipse escaped, and one of them was never caught. Which one? Well, didn't say, did it? No. Damn it. And executed criminals aren't given gravestones with their names on them. So you can't just go looking around Frisco Cemetery to find out. Listen, Bold, I really appreciate what you're trying to do. But at this point, you would have to actually find MacCready himself to prove he wasn't executed due to my failure. I guess that's what I'll do then. Okay, now I've unlocked that, now do we go to Dirtwater? Now does maybe Lloyd have something for us? Potentially? I'll fix the piano player for you. Thank you very much for the experience. Aha! Here we go. I thought he was somewhere around here. Ever hear of a fellow named MacCready? MacCready? Nope, doesn't ring a bell. It would have been about 17 years ago. Heck, I got a long memory, but not that long. I only started working here 6 or 7 years ago anyhow. What about the guest register? We only keep those for a couple of years. Only place I know of would, that might have records as far back as that would be the post office. Well, we're on to something. We're on to something. The post office. Hello there. I'm trying to find a guy named MacCready. There's a possibility he might have passed through here about 17 years ago. Passed through? We don't stamp passports here. Yeah, If you stayed a while, I might have a forwarding address. Oh, could you check, please? Alright, then. Alright, them books could use a bit of dusting anyway. One sec. She pulls out big ledgers out of her desk and blows a huge cloud of dust into the air, and then starts leafing through them. 17 years. Round about 78 then? 76, 77, 78, Maron, Mableston, McMurphy, MacCready. Got a Matt MacCready. That's the one? That's him. No forwarding address. But you could ask his old place, just out the northwest to here. Hey, wait a minute. This address looks familiar. The clerk rummages through a pile of newspapers and pulls out a poster and shows it to you and says, Wanted. House in the Desert Gang. For mortgage repayment, squatting, and general public nuisance. Also for murdering 2 collection agents. Last seen at the house in the desert. 500 meat reward. You take note of the location of MacCready's house and figure you could bring the house gang to justice while you're there. Aha! We have found a house in the desert. Let's go to it then. Maybe we'll get MacCready as well. Okay, sure, I'll give you a ride back to Dirtwater. Yeah, there you go. Cool, let's try it again. Thanks for the experience, numbnuts. Speaking of nuts, I'm just going to fight this thing. It's very easy to die. There you go. We'll bloody get this. We'll bloody get to the desert house eventually. As you dismount and approach the house where the bandits are holed up, you hear a voice say, "What was that?" Uh-oh. Looks like you're going to have to be sneaky if you want to avoid the full-on fracas. Sneaky's my middle name. Wait, really? Well, no, it's not. But okay. Right. Oh, we just have to walk very slowly, do we? I didn't even mind a full-on fracas. The doghouse contains an angry dog. This doghouse contains an angry dog. I'll tell you, I got bones here. I'll give you a bone. With a knick-knack paddywhack, you achieve your aim. The dog begins contentedly gnawing on a human femur. For you. Let's move on. Alright. What do we got in here? Ooh. I can oil the hinges with the oil can. That's quite good. Allow me to open and get through. You creep up on the door. You hear the gang inside. You notice the door jamb is busted. Probably from being kicked in. There's a crude hasp made of bent nails on the floor. Looks like the bandits have been locking it with a padlock from the outside when they leave. Can I just lock them in? Ha! You quietly lock the door from the outside. You've definitely got the upper hand at this point. Let's arrest them. Okay, fellas, the jig is up. A muffled voice says, "The law! Get him, boys!" And then, "Tarnation, we're locked in!" You hear a chorus of defeated sighs. Toss out your weapons with Intimidated 1. Oh, look at those pistols. That's nice. You hear a quiet but heated discussion inside. Eventually a voice says, "Alright." And some pistols fall out the window. Just kidding. I'm still going to rough you up a little. The voice says, "Oh, dang it." You round up the gang and haul them back to Dirtwater. That's the house in the desert gang, alright? All except for the house, that is. Did he get away? What? What was I supposed to... Ah, no, I was just kidding. Here's your reward. Thanks for the meat. Yeah, you fools. Got you, didn't we? Right, back to the house. We need to sort this bloody thing out. Right, well, now we're fine. Now we're alright. Now we are good to go. Aha. Oh, we need a shovel. But he did die, though. 1887. We need a shovel. Where, oh, where are we going to get a shovel from? Thanks for the whiskey, but I sort of wanted a shovel. Maybe the mercantile's got one. And with the meat we have, that'd be useful. Shovel? Yes. We do have a shovel. Lovely, okay. Right. Honestly, back over there now. Now that we have a shovel. Sure, I'll open this case. Lovely stuff. Alright. Let's get over there. Let's dig this up. You dig until the shovel hits a wooden coffin and haul the lid open. A skeleton blinks at you. Well, it doesn't, but anyway. Howdy! Howdy, are you Guilty McCready? Well now, ain't heard that nickname in... What year is it? 1895. 17 years. No, I tell a lie. There was that one time 8 years ago. The same McCready that escaped the gallows during an eclipse? Well now, since the statute of limitations is expired, I might as well fess up. Yep, that was me. Real sweet plan too. Apart from just one little hitch. It went off smooth as silk. Even worked in a little misdirection to lead the law to them two other fellas instead of me. Serves them right too. They was real murderers, not like me. I never killed a man except in a fair fight. Except for that one little hitch you mentioned? You miscalculated how long to delay the trial. So in order not to miss the eclipse, you called for a trial by combat. Oh, well, yep, that's the truth of it. You blame me for Miss Wainwright's death, I suppose. Why didn't you just trust her? Like, she'd have gotten you declared innocent. She had a real good head on her shoulders, sure, but so did that prosecutor fella. I didn't rate the odds better than 50-50. Not good enough. Anyway, the trial by combat was part of her job. She should have been ready. That stinks. She trusted you. She's a ghost now, because she feels guilty about losing that trial. I spent ages trying to convince her you weren't innocent. And she backed you every step of the way despite the fact you got her killed. You don't even care. Hell, you bite your tongue, sonny. You don't know me, don't care. I did what I felt I had to do to stay alive. And I felt damn guilty about what happened to Miss Wainwright. But I'd taken all the blame for it. No, sir. She'll tell you herself she should have been better prepared. Just like she told me that day apologizing with her last breath. I gave up gunfighting for her. Gave the only thing I live for. That's how I felt about it. You gave up gunfighting? Weren't easy, but I did. Brought this house, brought this land, raised some chickens and a little vegetable garden. Place has gone to hell since I died. That's a shame. Anyway, I never fired my pistol again. Not even damn fence post. It's not what it says on your grave. Hmm? Oh, read it again. That's the fellow what killed me, having an ironic joke, I reckon. Someone killed you? You're only the second person to track me down. The first was 9 years after the trial. Vic Timsbury's brother hunting for revenge. What happened? He challenged me to a duel. I told him I ain't doing that no more. He asked me again, and I said no. And he hollered at me. Then I took my pistol out of my closet and threw it at his feet, so as he could see that the cylinder was all rusted shut. And he cocked his gun and asked one more time, and I said no, and that's the last thing I remember is the bang. Jeez. Kinda him to bury me, though. Guess it wasn't all that bad. Do you want to see Felicity again? I could take you to a ghost. Nah, I reckon I'll just go back to sleep. Ain't right. A dead fellow walking around. Just tell her that's sorry for me, okay? Alright. Here, you can give her my pocket watch. She'll recognize it. Alright, bye, Macready. So long, fella. You close the coffin and fill the hole back in. We got Macready's pocket watch. Oh, geez, that's actually quite a good item as well. Nah, it's only fair, isn't it, to give it back. Even though it's a really nice item. It's a real good item. Right, let's get back there. Rolling around at the speed of Bold. Right. Second floor again. There you go. Macready didn't give a crap. Really didn't give a crap. Really didn't. I've got a question for you. Are you ready for this? What now? I found Macready's grave. He wasn't executed. You're 100% certain it's him, not some other man named Macready. It was him. He gave me his watch to give you. She turns the watch around in her hands for a while, just looking at it without saying anything. She then slowly winds it and listens as it chimes the hour. Yes, this is his watch, all right. Thank you. Wait, you said he gave it to you. He's alive? Not exactly. He's a skeleton. We talked for a while, and then he asked me to bury him again, so he could go back to sleep. What'd he say? He confirmed our guesses. He knew about the eclipse in advance and stalled the trial for his escape plan, but stalled it too long and decided to hedge his bet by calling for the trial by combat. I see. He gave up gunfighting. He what? He bought a little house and raised chickens. Never fired his pistol again. In fact, he left it to rust. 9 years later, Timsbury's brother caught up to him and challenged him to a revenge match. Macready refused repeatedly, so the guy shot him. He said to tell you he was sorry. She looks at you silently for a moment, then looks at the watch. She winds the hands back a minute and listens to the chimes again. She sighs and shakes her head, then smiles at you. Thank you, Bolt. You'd make a damn fine attorney. She shakes your hand and fades from view, as she does so, leaving her attorney's badge in your hand. Rest in peace, Counselor. Finally, we got that bloody one sorted. Look at that. Look at that damage. Yeah. What was it on my lapel? What was the other one I had? Chest full of medals. I mean, yeah, that is probably just better, probably, to be fair. All right, nice. Is that really the only one I mean, I know it says I've got 2 left. Well, I've got 1 left. There's only 1 ghost left and it's on the 3rd floor. I'm pretty certain I sorted all those out, though. Maybe there's a hidden one in Miss Gunn's manor Miss Gunn's room we don't know about. That's my guess. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go for a break here, folks. But in the next episode of Let's Play West of Loathing Reckonin at Gun Manor, I guess we'll go to the 3rd floor and get the final ghost. I guarantee it's going to be Miss Gunn or something. I don't know. I'll see you then.